Let me start with the Eagles. Any negatives there after 3 weeks?
Not really, Dan. I mean, they've got a couple penalties that they can clean up, but they have a really, really good team. I think it probably started with their decision on the preseason game analyst. I think that's when things started to
Mm,
really
mm,
take off for this franchise.
mm.
No, Dan, here's what I've been saying to people because I do a lot of stuff in Philly. It's the best corners they've had in a long time, best linebackers they've had in a long time. It's the best offensive line in the NFL. It's easily the best receiving core they've had in a long time, maybe ever. I mean, Devontae Smith was unbelievable yesterday. A.J. Brown's a stud. Dallas Goedert's a top 5 receiver. Jalen Hurts has improved way more than even I thought he would. They just have a really good team. Now, look, the playoffs are a long way away. A lot can happen between now and then, but they have a loaded roster that so far this year is playing very well.
It seems like they're the most balanced team in the NFC. And I always look at offensive lines and defensive lines. How good are you? They got depth at the offense or defensive line positions. And if you throw in some weapons there, I mean, it really comes down to if they're going to be great, it'll be because of Jalen Hurts. And if they're not, then they might be good. Is that going to be good enough? Because I look at Green Bay and I feel like this is who Green Bay is. They don't have anybody they're waiting for, whereas the Buccaneers are getting some people back. Seems like we forgot about the Rams after the loss to Buffalo. So if you're looking at handicapping the NFC, are the Eagles the best team in the NFC?
Well, the way you just described it, Dan, I agree 100% with what you said about the other teams and certainly what you said about the Eagles. I think that they objectively have the best roster in the NFC, and they're up there in terms of best rosters in the NFL. So far, they've stayed very healthy. They've only lost Derek Barnett, but they had the best O-line. Their D-line had 9 sacks yesterday. Now, a lot of that was Carson Wentz's refusal to get rid of the ball or throw the ball away. But still, 9 sacks is 9 sacks. There's no one that has a better roster than them. The question will be, how good is their record in terms of home field advantage or, what seed they are? And then when they get to the playoffs, how well does Jalen Hurts play versus Aaron Rodgers in a playoff game versus Tom Brady in a playoff game? Because remember, it was just this past January, Dan, that he was clearly outplayed by Tom Brady. It wasn't even close. Now, he's improved a lot, and the roster has improved tremendously around him. And it feels like the Bucks and Packers and even the Rams have all kind of taken a step back and come back to the pack a little bit.